Ho, ho, ho. Well, that's the last time I have an extramarital affair. You know, it's not the seeking around or aggressive dishonesty that gets you down. It's the name calling. Welcome, fresh-faced recruits and grizzled veterans alike, to the Lager Logs Points of View with Tom and Stu 2022 Christmas special. I'm Tom, he's Stu. Say hello, Stu.
Hello.
Ooh, that was difficult.
Like we've never been away.
Wow. Was that smooth? There was a lot of couplets in that one, and I'm out of practice. Yes, guys, we're back with a long overdue podcast while we've been busy wrapping up some magnificent gifts for our YouTube channel the last 6 months or so. We forgot to leave a podcast out for old Chris Kringle's consumption. We are rectifying that tonight, though, with an absolute cracker of a show, and you're going to need both hands for this one, which is sadly something I've never got to say in real life. Stu, how the hell are you?
I am seasonal.
Seasonal. You're
Yes.
looking not very seasonal, but the background is very seasonal. So
Yes,
you've gone to
there's-
some effort at least.
My wife has.
Okay.
I've
okay.
just shown up.
You're taking credit for that.
I put all the work in on the 25th, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that's all that matters, man. When it comes down to it, that's all that
Let
matters.
it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
I didn't know you could sing. That was beautiful. Yes, in this evening's festive free-for-all, we have a chat with Midland's Malt Maestro, Austin, from Backyard Brewhouse, because Stone Cold said so. But before then, did that get a pass?
A wrestling reference.
Did it just for you, man. But before then, we'll be taking a look and also a sip of their festive offering, Bad Santa, which now contains 75% less Billy Bob Thornton. Thank God, I'm watching my figure. Stu, we've been waiting to crack this one wide open for a very long time now,
Yes.
so let's get to it. I cannot wait. This is the face of a very excited man.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get
The
that?
face
Did I sell that correctly?
We've known to, we've grown to love over the last 2 years.
Oh wow! I didn't know we were gonna get this sappy so early. I don't really like your face.
That's just because my cameras are getting better. You get to see more of it.
Jealous. I'm very, very jealous. Sitting over here in 240p still while you're streaming in. I think is that 16K? Is it? That's.
Don't make
it's
fun of
too
my
much.
dial-up modem.
It's too much. I can see your pores.
I spend a good penny a minute on this internet.
Hey, Big Spender. Woo! Here we go. Going for the pour, my man. We got, yes, probably should. I do forget this is a visual podcast now. Bad Santa. Here we go. Looking good. Really dig the artwork. Really cool. It's got that kind of bumpy cover, like Braille.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I really like. It looks like gravy, which for me is always a good sign. Just a pint's worth. Wow. Okay, that looks good.
Oh no!
You didn't spill any beer on your laptop again, did you? I think we've already done that once this show. Oh no. It's been
Smells
spillage.
interesting.
It does smell interesting.
There is spillage, but that's what they've made beer mats for.
That's hell yeah, brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
it
at
smells,
this.
It smells good. It smells like nutty, kind of coppery, kind of.
This
Definitely some
is
multi aromas. That is pitch black, buddy. I mean, it's got a bit of a redness, bit of a
Yes,
red
I know.
heat to it. But yours looks like a pint of Guinness.
I'm
Amazing.
just holding it up. I could see my ring light through it, but it was bright red. It's like the eye of Sauron, like a
I can
ring
see
of
you
fire
ring
staring
through it
back at me.
too, funnily enough.
Well,
Did you wipe tonight? What's going on, man? I knew you should have gone for that toilet break. Are you ready?
I think so.
So you spitting your hands in anticipation, rubbing them together, getting ready for the grip.
It's about
Okay.
time to get
It's
bad, Santa.
Woo! Let's do it, buddy. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Been too long. Yes. That's a yes from me. Oh wow.
Kind of
Okay.
dark. Would you say malty?
Definitely malty. Definitely licorice, kind of aniseed taste to it. Quite subtle
Yeah.
in terms of those flavors, but it's still there. But it's really just that kind of multi profile that hits you, nutty multi profile that hits you straight away.
On the side of the bottle, it states Bad Santa bitter, 6.8%.
Oh,
Dark, strong, full of sweet malt character, toffee and licorice, followed by big hitting bitterness with blackberry, citrus, and aniseed. So,
yeah, it's not about citrus, but yeah, blackberry I can see. Yeah, definitely. Got that kind of tartness to it. Very subtle tartness to it.
it's bitter, but it's not like enough where you could actually screw your face up. I'm not sure if that's where like the sweetness of the malt cancels it out.
I think that's what it is, man. Yeah, it's kind of got that
really nice balance.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Okay. Along with, I forgot to ask you, along with the brews we sampled the other night, Stu, was this your first backyard experience? Or do you normally barbecue on the front lawn? Go, your turn.
Still working from the first draft, are we? This is my second bottle from the backyard Brewhouse. I think when we did the interview that y'all will be hearing shortly, I was trying their IPA, which was actually a really solid IPA. It's nothing fancy. It's not mixed with this, that. It's no double or triple hops. It's just a nice, reliable IPA. And yeah, it was just the perfect brew to kind of sit and sip and like just like listen to like a conversation. So yeah, this seems to be a 2 for 2 from the backyard Brewhouse so far.
Very impressive scorecard. Yeah, you're right about that beer. Lovely, very soft, subtle, I would say, IPA. I think it's actually technically called Blue Badge IPA, and I think it will be because it gave me severe mobility issues after consuming it.
Did you have to park closer to the shop?
I really did. I had to park close to the microphone. Yes.
You're allowed to use the disabled toilets that day. Couldn't make it. Couldn't make it to the...
I was allowed to on a technicality.
Yeah.
So yes, this is Bad Santa sitting at a Santarific 6.8%, if indeed that is an adjective, coming from Backyard Brewhouse, based in Brown Hills, Walsall. I'm going to try and not blabber on for too long about them because you'll get a better insight into the history of Backyard when you hear the main man himself speak. But yeah, they based in Brown Hills, Walsall. They took their name from the literal backyard brew house they started the company in back in the day. Their catalogue ranges from some core traditional brews all the way to a colourful craft section. And other than the ones we've already mentioned, they do Hales and Horns, their collaboration with Rob Halford of Judas Priest, a 4.6% English Best English Best Bisto. Embankment, one for you, Stu. A coffee.
Pour that over your toys.
Embankment is a coffee milk stout with notes of espresso and chocolate. Book that one up, bud. And Into Deeper, I have no idea what type that is. So I think we've already kind of started, but we will continue with our kind of last beers watch kind of thing, if you're into that. So yeah, talking of backyard, I mean, I completely agree with your statement. I mean, I've had a couple more than you, I think. Project Beach Ball is one of their pale ales that has really stuck with me. Lovely summery beer. More recently, I enjoyed Jigger a lot, which I've seen classed as a...
It always worries me when you say that out loud.
Yeah, just make sure I pronounce that correctly. I've seen that classed as a red ale, but it tasted more like a bitter, nutty brown ale to me. Lovely stuff. Yeah, very, very nice. And yeah, obviously we had like we mentioned, the IPA. I also sampled their blonde, which you have not yet.
I've got that still sat in a little box that they sent us. But I look forward to trying it one day.
Hell yeah, dude! It's a good one. It's I had that one before on cask, and again, yeah, quite subtle, quite mild hopping, mild malt notes on it. Another great summery beer, which also worked in the winter. What more can you ask for? A blonde that likes to snuggle all year round. Moving on, because the concept worked so well in the past and was so clearly defined and very memorable, we have another home and away section. So that was the home section, and this is the away section of this topic. Now, Stu, did you manage to have a blast on anything else this week, dude? You'd like to mention?
I tried a Moonwake Beer Co.
Okay.
I think previously I've spoke about having their lager. This time it was their pale ale, which was I think it was like a mango and berry pale ale, and it was really, really good. It was
pretty good.
I shared a tin with my wife, and she instantly thought this was a great beer. This is my type of beer. And yeah, they've got this nice simple sort of can art where it's just kind of like a pastel color, and then it's like a circle, and there's different tones like on the semicircles, and it's just this nice simple design. And it's like two beers that have also been really reliable. So I've been onto the website and I've kind of bookmarked the page.
Oh, nice.
Because next year I'm really going to get into like each month kind of shopping directly from the brewers themselves.
They need it, man, and they deserve it for sure.
I want to kind of just, I'm not going to be picking up like Innocent Gun for Aldi's and Lidl's. I'm going to kind of send money straight to the guys that make it. Like Backyard Brewhouse, for example, I've already bookmarked like the set of beer that I'll be picking up next month, and Moonwake's next on my list.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I mean,
I'll be definitely picking up that Rob Halford beer sometime this month for sure, if it's still on the website. But
I think it is. I think it was like in a 6-pack that they were dishing out, which looks really good. And
let's go.
Like, I mean, look at this baby. It's almost done.
Oh no, here we go.
All the windows have been panned in.
The beer advent calendar strikes again. Have you not had enough fun with that on YouTube and TikTok? No.
I need to exploit it more, Thomas. So here, this is what behind the scenes. You don't often see the back of this bad boy.
Oh, there we go.
Still a box.
Wow. Box within a box.
I mean,
amazing.
Christ, there's only three tins of beer left there. That's why I was able to lift it up so easily. All these buggers
then impress me.
Being drank or are in my fridge waiting to be drank. But I think I'm gonna take the box sacrilegiously. I'm gonna cut it in half and keep it. And my wife wants to do a beer calendar, like a 12 days of Christmas for me next year.
Dude, that's class, man.
So we're gonna recycle the box, just cut in half, because I don't want to go out and try and find 24 different beers. like 12 will do, because if anything, it's going to cost me a fucking fortune.
100%.
So 12 beers. We'll fashion that box so it takes 12, and just a wee extra little cheap and cheerful beer calendar for next year. Why not?
Dude, that's class. That's class. I'm proud of you saving the planet, supporting local independent brewski makers, and also just getting massively destroyed throughout the holiday season on booze. You know what? That's wow. That's
fast forward to December 2023, and it's 12 tins of Tennants.
I'll see you then, babe. But yeah, guys, I mean, do as Stu is doing, and get out there and support the independent breweries, because they need it, man, especially in this current climate. If that's what you really love, just go for it, man. You're not going to be spending any
That's
more
it.
money, really,
If
are
you
you, than you
find
normally do?
a reliable brewer, like someone that's like their beers are like good, then definitely like
Oh
find
yeah.
look up their website or their social media and see what else they're making.
Mm.
You don't need to like commit to like a mini cask, but still just see what they're doing, or if they're doing like craft fairs or
Mm.
like farmers markets and things like that. If they end up they're actually closer than you expect. So
Preach, brother, preach. So I went to this really independent kind of thrifty beer hut called Aldi over the weekend. I don't know whether you've heard of it, but as I was
can you
picking
even
up,
say it with a straight face?
as I was picking up that Yorkshire pudding beer that we purchased for
Ah,
our
yes.
YouTube Christmas special. I
Hmm.
also managed to spot Williams Bros. Six States, a New England White IPA. This is an Aldi exclusive.
Ah, this
From
is
what
that
I
like
read,
a yellowy green tin?
it is, buddy. It is. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yeah, it was okay. It promised citrus peel and coriander seed.
It's never good when it promised this
It
because it always sounds
promised
like it doesn't deliver.
it didn't quite deliver. I didn't get any of that kind of any of those flavors that I mentioned, sadly, from it. What I
Did
did get
you see
was
the other? Because in our Aldi's they have that, but it's usually paired with like a bright pink tin of what I think what they were calling is a cherry lager.
I didn't know it had
No,
the is it Otto, the blood orange.
yeah, aye, it was like a green
Uh,
tin.
yeah, they had that one again, but I didn't see that one. No, I will have
Mhm.
to be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, this wasn't fantastic, but it was kind of fairly light, not massively flavorsome. I was
Mhm.
drinking it before the show. Take on the Nipper, but
And especially for like a supermarket beer, that's
yeah, it was
trying
quite
to broaden horizons.
100%, man. Yeah, and it was quite cheap too, but it was fizzy, and that's got to count for something, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of all I tucked into this week. Thank you for sharing, Stu. I
As do
appreciate that.
you. Hmm.
Thank you. It's been a very wholesome experience, as always. Okay, enough chitter chatter. It's time to hop into the phone box and transport back to a distant time, a time when I was young and impressionable, bursting with joy and a lust for life, before we started recording, and introduce our interview with Boston Austin of Backyard Brewhouse. Stu, hit play on that talk, boy. We really need slightly newer technology. Oh, okay, it's begun. Guys, welcome back. We're here with Austin Morgan, head honcho, fastest sprinter, and general dog's body of Brown Hill's finest backyard brew house. How are you, bud? You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. Holding up after a heavy weekend.
Oh man, I bet. Yeah, you were at the Litchfield Food Festival this weekend.
That's the one. Yeah, that's
How's
the
that
one.
been? How's that been going so far?
Um, it's not been too bad. Not too bad at all. It's been a cold weekend for everybody, but they've
Yeah.
they've all fought through and they've survived.
Brilliant, man. That's the absolute least you can hope for. Thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you here. We're gonna
Yeah,
keep
my pleasure.
this. We're gonna keep this as well. Wait till the end of the show before you say that. We're gonna keep this very loosey goosey and probe you as gently as we can. But,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
but first, I was gonna say we're gonna crack open a beer. We already cracked open a beer. We're sipping on Backyard's IPA at the moment, going down extremely well.
Lovely beer.
So, cheers, guys.
Okay. Beautiful.
Cheers.
So yeah, what we on the tea there, are we?
I am on the tea, and we're still red tea at that.
Wow. This
Health
is a man of
nuts
culture.
over here. So yeah, just to start from the very top, not talking about backyard in general, but just kind of you. How did the beer journey start in terms of kind of as a youth and your drinking days? And take us back, fill us in.
Well, I don't think that's such a good idea. You know, I mean,
Oh, there's no bad ideas on this show.
It was my 9th birthday.
We're not recording this.
No, I think it was my 13th.
Far too late.
Nah, actually, oh God, I started drinking, yeah, probably a bit too early. I think as most people do, don't they? Yeah, nothing major. I don't think I was too out of control, but I think what really got my journey going was started working in a pub kitchen when I was 16. That sort of like gets you access to the bar, really.
It does, yeah.
And it doesn't matter how old you are. Once the doors are locked, no one minds. Great thing for me was though that I think one of my dad was always a Guinness drinker, and I found it an intriguing drink to look at. So was ever trying it. Always hated it. Couldn't stand it. Every time I tried it, this god awful drink. By the time I got to the pub days, though, working in the pubs, that's where I started. Unlike a lot of people, you know, the lager and the cider didn't really do it for me. I was on the Guinness journey right from the start.
Nice.
That was fantastic for me. So that was a good opening. Then a little bit later on, when I actually started working behind the bar, ended up working at a local pub, and for me, they served Highgate Dark Mild, and
I've heard of this beverage. Yeah.
Yes, and that was stunning, and only to be followed, you know, a few years down the line, that I ended up working at Highgate Brewery, which is where my journey within the industry started.
Oh, okay.
So that a bit of a jump, was it? Jump back. But going back to where I was pub and loosely in education, there was a lot of arguments for me not being in education, mainly from my teachers. But
beer came first, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I wanted to go into. I always was going to go into the food industry. Dead interested in the food industry. Started off early days was going to be a chef. Got me around the fact that chefs are really, really badly paid and work really stupidly long hours. So that developed into the food industry. Started going around looking at universities to do a food degree. And one of the places that was at Manchester University at that time had a pilot brew kit. That got me interested while I was looking around. Unfortunately, never ended up at Manchester. But with my enjoyment of beer and seeing the brew kit, I'm like, hang on a minute, this looks rather good.
Yeah.
The interest was always there. Went through university. Didn't quite get into food industry. Ended up being a baker. Okay. So hang on, right? I'm now back at where I was when you're a chef. Yeah, really poorly paid and ridiculously long hours. Ended up working as a baker for just over 3 years, I think.
Okay.
And before I found out that Highgate were advertising. Went for a job. Hadn't got home before they got offered the job, and haven't looked back since. Really, I spent many years working with yeast. Just this time, you know, I moved from working.
I bet that helped with the interview.
The wrong end is debatable.
Yeah.
So you know, that's a brief journey, and my drinking all through that was always about. It wasn't about the lager. You do your university years, and hammered every Friday night, every Saturday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Okay. Probably Wednesday and Thursday as well, but
yeah. I think that's a pretty relaxed schedule you got yourself there.
Yeah, you know, nothing too heavy.
So as brewers, you could class that as research, really.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Of course. I'm sure you can get some government funding for that. I think that it's interesting that you say you first kind of your love was Guinness, because I think a lot of people go through the lager ranks and then into the darker beers. So it's interesting that kind of was the other way for you. But I suppose if your dad was kind of a big Guinness fan, then it makes sense for you to kind of follow in his footsteps. I know it's saying with my dad, it was what he drank, and I kind of went into that category of beers.
Yeah, there's always you follow what you know, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
From there, at what point did you end up with Backyard Brewhouse? Then was there were you involved sort of from the get go with the brewery, or did you jump on after it already been established?
No, 100% founded by myself and Mike, my business partner. We were working at Highgate Brewery. I started there. At that point, Mike had actually left Highgate Brewery, but then, glutton for punishment, he came back. We connected. I worked in the brewing department. He worked in packaging department, but we connected. Few years down the line, we were getting to the point of feeling that things aren't looking too rosy for Highgate. He came into brewing department. Now, probably shouldn't be admitting this, but there was a shift system and a morning shift.
We'll bleep it if you need, mate.
Certainly towards the later years, an 8-hour afternoon shift consisted of probably 4 hours work, 2 hours eating, and 2 hours drinking.
I think that's a good ratio, to be honest. Yeah.
It was a hard life, but I mean, it was proper tough.
We made it through, though.
Yeah. And so, of course, you sit down and you start doing a lot of talking, don't you? When things are quiet and you haven't got a lot on your plate, you start talking, and I was always sticking my nose in. I wanted to be involved in everything. I was always pestering over in the lab. I was out on the drays. I was in packaging. I was everywhere I shouldn't be, doing work. And we sat down here. I'm sure we could do this, and I think we could make some better beers. I wanted that was for me what it was about. I wanted the input into the new beers that were being made, and there was no scope for that at all. So coupled with the fact that we weren't convinced about the future for Highgate as it stood at that time, we chatted about it for about 18 months.
Wow.
I wouldn't say we planned anything, but we chatted about it. We finally started looking, searching around. We found a nice little 5-barrel kit available for sale. They're stuck in a cow shed somewhere in Oxfordshire.
Wow.
And it was full of manure and various other things. It had been abandoned and left there. Mm-hmm. I thought, should we go and have a look at it? So we went and had a look at it. That's too good an offer to turn up. Made them an offer on it. They accepted it. We're like, crap. Now we've got to get it back to the Midlands. Not a clue what. We picked a brew kit up. I knew someone who'd got some lockups. We put it in a lockup. We hadn't gone anywhere. So we hadn't got any premises. We hadn't got a business. We hadn't got anything. We just went out and bought this 5-barrel brew kit.
Wow.
And we spent another 12 months still talking about it. You know what? Maybe we ought to go and look for somewhere. Maybe we ought to actually go and do something about this. Spent a couple of months searching for premises. And then in February 2008, took the keys to a unit. We went in on the 2nd of February. It was the Saturday 2nd of February 2008. We picked the keys up on the Friday, went over to the unit, opened it up, had a look around, locked the doors, went round the cafe for breakfast.
So you guys, you're known for getting a lot done then, right?
No, once we get going. I mean, from that point onward, I mean, at this point, we were both still working full-time for Highgate Brewery.
Of course, right. Yeah.
So we were starting the brewery at that point. So once we got the keys, we moved the kit in, we started working. So we were doing our working week at Highgate, going down to the unit, prepping the unit. The brew kit that we'd bought needed a hell of a lot of work doing to it, so we were doing that. we worked. We were averaging about 19, 20 hours a day, probably, to the point at which we got it set up, ready to go. I started going around canvassing a few pubs, seeing if they would take the beer when we started brewing it. Job was a good one. They said yes. We started making it, and I think we delivered our first beer on about the 10th or 11th of June in 2008.
Yeah, amazing.
While still working at Highgate.
It's a long day. It's a very long day.
Yeah. Mind you, that didn't last too long. We were trying to keep it sort of like under our hats a bit and doing most of it anonymously, and that doesn't work. Never does. Very quickly got found out, got challenged, or I got found out. So I took. That's it. We got to leave. So I took basically got challenged on the Thursday and left on the Friday.
So it seems a bit more dramatic than I thought it was going to be, the actual story behind it. But I suppose it's the passion that got you through it. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just that. I mean, that was good. I strung a little bit of a story together with it, saying that I was consulting for somebody else at this point. So they thought someone else was doing the brewery, and I was given the challenge. I either forget what the consulting and carry on working for Highgate, or I leave. Well, I can't really, stay at Highgate, can I? Because actually, it's my money that's going down the Swanee.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So I did it, and they were, in all fairness to them, they were great. They decided they were going to have a leaving do for me. I'm like, flipping out. What the shift finishes at 1 o'clock on a Friday. They decided everybody would meet in the bar. We'd have a couple of drinks and a bite to eat. Now, I think I probably came across as slightly ungrateful because all I was doing was looking at my watch.
Because you want to get back to your pet project.
Yeah, but a bit more than that. I'd arranged to be 20 miles up the road in Stafford at 1:30 for an interview with the Stafford Post because we were the newest brewery appearing at the Stafford Beer Festival.
Oh, wow.
so which then appeared in the Saturday Stafford Post.
Oh, wow. So you took the sandwiches to go that night.
Yeah, I probably lost a few friends over that, a couple of them, that 24-hour period.
Oh, wow. Amazing. I mean, my introduction to Backyard was with you providing the goods for the Aldridge Beer Festival previously this year. The festivals, you do something quite often then. I know you're fresh off the Litchfield Food Festival. Is it something that you kind of do regularly?
In terms of outside events, really, we've never really gone deep into that. We've been doing Litchfield Food Festival probably for, I think we probably started in 18, but only we were only doing their summer one, the big August bank holiday, so a 3-day. It's a bit less stressful in many respects because you've got 3 days, so there's a bit more gap between your setup, your takedown.
Yeah,
that we always do as serving and selling small selling cans and bottles off of there. But there's 3 of those a year. Prior to that, it would maybe local Christmas fairs. But at Aldridge Beer Festival, as you attended, I've been involved with that for probably 9 years, give or take.
Oh, okay.
That's as a result. My son started there at Cubs.
Yeah, it's a Scout Hall, isn't it?
It's a Scout Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's organised by the Scout Group.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up. The beer festival's actually just this year's that you attended was technically a postponed 21st anniversary of the beer festival.
Oh, no way! I had no idea.
Yeah, so
amazing.
So they've been going for a long time, and it's grown over that time. But obviously, of course, my first involvement with it was a little bit. Well, hang on a minute. One of the dads owns a brewery. I wonder if we can get some beer off her. I'm like, yeah, fine. So I think it took 2 years before it was like, right, I'm supplying the stillage, I'm sourcing all the beer for it, I'm sorting it all out.
Took over.
That side of it. You know, it's a definite team effort. You know, the guys volunteer for it. And in terms of what I do, I go, right, okay, you want 10 beers, I'll source the beers, I'll get them in, we'll prep the beers, I'll come and set them up on the night before, jobs are good. And that's my involvement with it.
It seems
really, you know, it's down to the other guys who pull that together, really.
Yeah. It seems like the perfect way of introducing people to your beers and the range of beers, because you're not kind of putting money, towards buying a pint. You're putting money up front, and you get your tokens, and it means you can kind of, I don't know, maybe you're a bit kind of more looser with it, and you go, okay, I'll take a gamble on that. I'll take a gamble on this, and I feel like it's a really good way of getting your brews out to people who maybe normally wouldn't drink them.
It seems as it's maintained its popularity over the years. People love it, and of course, you've got, as with most groups, there's the original people who started it. Now, most of the people who do the volunteering for it, their kids are grown up, left home, all gone. But then, obviously, you've got your kids. You've got the kids coming through, not just the parents. Kids that were, started there when they were 10 or 11, are now 20-year-olds coming back not only to volunteer, but they're getting to experience good beer. They're not just on that lager journey or the cider journey.
Yeah.
They've seen it come through, and they're far more open to trying the different stuff. It's great.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant.
One thing I always like to ask our guests, Austin, is
what colour underwear are you wearing?
No, that would suggest that they wear underwear. But let's.
No comment.
I'm more for just wondering about like the fun stories that kind of happen at breweries. Has there ever been, how Bob Ross coined the phrase of like happy accidents? Has there ever been an occasion where like a brew gets mucked up, turns out to be really good, and it's changed the course of the brewery, or something not scandalous?
We don't want to get times than I care to remember. Things go wrong on a regular basis. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what we've had in the past. I mean, you'll always get a beer that doesn't quite do what it's supposed to do, or then you move to the extreme end, or someone failed to read the recipe. That's always a good one.
I suppose that's quite important when you're making beer, I would think.
It is, yeah. I mean, in fairness, we've actually had an incident like that in the last 6 weeks.
Oh wow! Okay.
The recipe was misread. The beer's in cask and selling really, really well.
Oh. Do you not want to say which beer this is?
Which beer this is.
We'll come back to 2023.
Yeah. So full disclosure in 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
happy result of that was that some of the malt was that the amounts of malt were read incorrectly, and rather more went in than we would ever consider using of a particular type of malt.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it's proved our misconceptions, actually, and turned out to be a pretty decent drop. That's not bad. I think overall over the years, probably the one that really, really did us the best was, I can't remember, what did we call it now? We were doing a Scotch bitter that was, I still to this day don't quite how we ended up with what we ended up with. It was supposed to be about 5.5%, something like that. Now, quite often expect beers not quite to come up, so might hit 5%. This beer was fermented through. I think the recipe was right and everything. Somehow we ended up with an 8% beer off of a 5.5% recipe. Not the foggiest. We have never sold a beer so fast. It was absolutely so. It had got no alcohol burn on it. It had got nothing. It got a really sweet, heavy note on it. Body on it was massive. I don't know how. We still don't know what happened to that. So we've never brewed it again. I don't think so. We've never been able to brew it again.
Yeah.
But I do know. So there's a guy who lives locally. He's been a long time supporter of the brewery. And our local micro pub really got very upset with me because he did eventually fall off his stool after drinking. I think he said he'd had 13 pints of it.
Okay,
Jesus
quite a light
Christ.
night then.
He wasn't pushing himself or anything on that one. But we've had we've got a couple of long-term regular customers that have done similar things over the years. Back it's not in the beer not in the beer failures or cock-ups area. We put on a cask of East India, a 6.3 English IPA for a brewery tour, which is probably a bad idea in its first place. You don't put beers that strong on for brewery tours; it's just not a done thing. And we had one very lovely gentleman who wandered off the coach, didn't bother with the tour and the talk, propped up what was our little tiny bar with one handful on it at that time, and proceeded to drink 9 pints of East India. Walk out of the brewery, managed to climb the 3 steps onto the minibus like he hadn't had a drink. And apparently they were going back to it. They were returning to a pub. It was a daytime visit. And apparently he continued to drink until he got kicked out of the pub sometime around midnight.
Oh my God.
It sounds like a machine.
I was going to say.
You're drinking Terminator.
People like that scare me. But if they can do it, more power to them.
Why not? I was gonna say, just kind of touching on like your beer kind of permeating, it seems, through kind of every beer outlet in the West Midlands, from supermarkets to me being at the cinema a couple of months ago, and there was Jigger in the fridge. It really does seem like it's kind of everywhere, like, and it seems to kind of be popping up in very random places, which is awesome to see. I mean, in terms of distribution, how focused are you on getting out to those places? Where's the kind of aim really of kind of where you're getting out to?
I mean, that is
just a happy accident, or is it actually some thought behind it?
Some of it always is happy accident. Sometimes it's luck. Luck gets you to places.
Yeah.
And I mean, from day one, we've been a cask brewery. So we've been. I mean, we're coming on 15 years this February. And we have always been absolutely a cask brewery, predominantly in the guest ale market. Bottles we've probably been involved with properly since about 2016. So when we really went into bottles. So our distribution as a cask brewery was pubs. That was it. There isn't anywhere else for cask to go, really.
So bottles
was, yeah. So bottle was an important step in that. That was a big part of the evolution. Never big to start with. We were probably so 2016, 17, we were probably only moving about 10,000 bottles a year. So, really quite small. In 18 is when we signed with, we did the deal with Morrison's.
Yeah.
So that's quite a big step up. So that was a conscious decision. You've always got the problem dealing with supermarkets that you will never make any money, but
it's
you've
kind of
got
good
an
promo,
excellent,
right? I suppose.
yeah. It's a shop window. You really that really serves its purpose. You can't measure sort of like the impact that has overall. It's one of those things that just shows you. So then it was bottles to it's independent off licenses, those sort of places that want to get it to. And I'm guessing the cinema you were at was hopefully I'm saying it was the Light in Morsel, was it?
Bingo, yeah.
Yeah. We've had a long relationship with them, really good relationship with them, and it's fantastic that we're able to do things like that. I consider the Light an independent cinema. They're a small chain, but essentially they're independent. But it's wonderful looking at the way they champion beers of all different styles from all different areas. They're fantastic. So for us to be in that mix is brilliant. I really like that, and we do work hard to keep that relationship. But to where we are now, I mean, obviously you can imagine that through COVID, bottle sales were very, very good. Whereas that's all we carried on brewing right through the original lockdown, but that was purely going into bottle. So that was direct from the brewery, that was out to Morrison's, and that was to the places that were allowed to stay open.
Yeah.
Through that. The trade now is when you're asking about sort of like what plans are or whether it's happy accident. The beer market is really, really in a bad place. It's not in a good place. And for us, cask is sort of like the point at which it is probably struggling at the most at the moment. And pubs, as I'm sure you're aware, pubs are dropping at an alarming rate. A lot of those pubs, unfortunately, are those that are traditional cask pubs.
Yeah.
It's something. So this is where we are now. We are slowly shifting this strategy. We introduced the range of 6 cans back in the summer, not as a craft can, but as an extension, as a modern extension to the cask products to improve the market. We have got now, hopefully, over the next 12 months, looking at developing more into the. Don't use the craft as that rather contentious term. Range of cans to reach out to new markets. We are having to pivot quite dramatically now, and that includes we're going to be handing volume over to keg product as well.
Of course, I think with you guys though, you could probably quite happily straddle the kind of traditional and craft kind of line or wall quite well.
Yeah, we're quite fortunate. We've built what I hope is a good, strong, and solid reputation for the quality of the beer that we do make. So while we are known as a cask brewery, we can use that reputation to push forward into the markets that we don't currently operate in. I know we never want to lose cask. We are quite fortunate as a brewery in that while we're in the guest ale market, we achieved something that not many small cask brewers achieve, and that is a line of 3, maybe 4 core products and 1 solid line. The blonde is our headline selling product, and we have to brew that probably our second best core product would be the IPA, hopefully being enjoyed by yourselves at the moment.
As
IPA in the Horde, and we make probably 3 times more blonde than we do of either of those. So we've got that. We're trying to find a balance there, and we're lucky that we've got a core product. We've always been known for being able to put out lots of seasonals and lots of variation on the cask. We've got the bottles. That seasonal variation hopefully will give people the confidence to see that when we start producing new products for cans and for keg, that quality, that standard is going to continue.
Yeah.
That's where we're targeting now. That's our aim over the next, well, hopefully 12 months, but realistically, we're probably looking at a 2-year plan.
Oh, wow. That far ahead.
So, look, you've got to be optimistic, even in these trying times.
No, that's really good. I think, it sounds like you're doing all you can during what seems to be, a very, very difficult year for beer breweries, and distribution seems quite difficult at the moment. And there's some tricky kind of decisions to be made in terms of where your focus needs to be at. But you seem to have a lot of fingers in different.
Absolutely.
Beer
the problem is,
yeah.
The problem is that the climate out there. If you can tell me what's going to happen in 6 months, or if you can even have an attempt at forecasting for 6 months' time, so please tell me how, because it's such an unknown now. Yeah. You could always see what was happening in the market, and you could sort of you'd got your seasonal variation, but you could see how product was moving and developing, and you could see it over. You could have a reasonably good idea of what would happen in the next 12, 24 months. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen next week.
Flying by the seat of your pants, it seems, mate.
And there's no better way to do it.
Yeah. I think there's a sort of kind of romanticism to it a little bit, isn't there? I suppose, kind of.
Oh, there is definitely. And I mean, it genuinely scares me at the moment. I still see people going, I'm thinking about starting a brewery. I'm just starting a brewery. And if there's any word of advice I could give to anybody, bloody hell, don't do it. That's not because I don't want the competition. It's because I don't want anybody to go through the absolute hell that's involved in it.
You heard it here first, folks. Don't start a brewery.
If you want to do it, we'll give you the advice, but we'll help you out.
Hell me.
Oh.
Okay, so as much as we would love to spend the rest of our evening talking with you, Austin, we realise we all lead busy lives. We've got other things to do.
The dogs.
But I'd love to get an idea of kind of like what you've got planned, or what events you have coming up involved with Brewhouse.
Should we just focus on tomorrow's plans, obviously, with in regards to what you were just saying? What's lined up for tomorrow for Backyard?
I mean, there's 12 hours between now and then. Who knows?
Anything could happen.
No,
or if you've got anything that you'd like to plug,
Yeah, exactly.
Chance, mate.
Well, let's take that in stages. Tomorrow's easy. It's the Monday after a weekend been on a market on a food festival, so that's a bit of a wash down. That's getting everybody recovered. Hardest bit of all is getting all the kit dry and put away. That's going to be the nightmare for tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet.
Then I guess it's the sort of like it's the last big push into Christmas, really. And it's trying to get as much mood as possible. I feel like I keep coming back to the same thing. As our trade sales get later and later every year, and this year, so this next 2 weeks is going to be about getting beer out to the pubs, making sure that people have got all their Christmas beer in for home drinking, making sure we've got the off licenses stocked up. I can't shout out loud enough that the brewery shop is open. We're there till 5:30 every day. We're open on Saturday till 12. Come and get some beer.
Get yourself down, guys.
That's it. Get in, get down. and then it's rocking into next year. And I mean, unfortunately, it goes back to sort of like the previous comments. We don't really know what the next 12 months are going to hold, but certainly our big plan for the next 12 months is we're going to move through. We've got some volume sorted, ready for January and February. Always the most uncomfortable time of year, and then we're looking into really that's the time in January and February where we will be looking at the development of some of the new products for the coming 12 months. We've got plans to retire probably quite a lot of our existing cask seasonal range to bring through some new fresh ideas, which then help with the development on the keg side of it. We'll be going out and looking for we'll be investigating the keg market because it's not something we've dealt with. So that's our next 12 months. And if we're really lucky, maybe towards the end of next year, we'll have found those markets, and the can side of things will also be growing in the same way that our bottles did in sort of like 2018, 2019.
Fantastic. So, guys, get yourself down to Backyard Brewhouse or order off the website. Follow the Instagram. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Not saying you look like a horse, Austin. Sorry about that. It's a tough time for.
I've been called worse.
For everybody. So order yourself a few brews from a fantastic brewery. Austin, thank you for your time, mate. We really appreciate you coming on. Have you got any parting words for the listeners?
Drink beer.
Perfect.
I can't say any more than that. Mm-hmm. Putting out a public appeal to drink beer.
It's a PSA, guys.
But drink responsibly.
Yes. I don't think you'll get much pushback from that.
I doubt it, mate. Not with our audience, no. But cheers, Austin. We appreciate it, mate. Thank you for your time. And
no problem at all. It's been great to speak to you.
Wish you all the best of luck in the future, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope to speak to you again soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Right, we're back in the room, and oh crap, I left my underwear in last Sunday. First the crack of dawn, and now this. Big shout out to Austin. That was Austin. If you didn't get that from the laugh, thank you for joining us. Absolute legend, and we're hoping you can come on in the new year for whatever harebrained scheme Stu will have cooked up for YouTube at that point.
More blind taste tests.
I'll be there, babe. I'll be there. Stu, what do you reckon of this beer? How does it rank in your Christmas beer list so far?
It's interesting. It's kind of not what you're expecting when it comes to Christmas brews. It seems largely traditional when it comes to Christmas beers. I feel like the majority tend to be stout. I know, I think maybe the number one to many people is Broughton Ales.
Santa Stout.
Santa Stout. I feel like it's a staple.
It really is.
Like just that label. Santa Stout, and just the taste of just a nice, reliable stout. And I'm kicking myself for not picking it up because it's the 21st of December, and for some reason the shelves are already cleared of it.
Oh man, I grabbed it while I could. I took it to a few bottles a couple of weeks ago, and it was a really, really great revisit. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it's mostly stouts or mostly
and I'm not sure, just because
gimmicky.
It's winter. It always seems to be darker beers. For the darker time of year.
Definitely does make sense.
I remember having a Rudolph Red Ale a few years ago. But I feel like some brewers, it's just one and done. And they'll revisit it if it tends to be successful, because that's us seeing Santa Stout sort of time and time again. So that's obviously a big hitter for our pal Dave and the rest of the crew at the Broughton Brewery. But I do really enjoy the sidestep that Austin and his guys have provided us with Bad Santa. Like a bitter, I was not expecting a bitter as
It's kind of a
like a
bit
Christmas beer.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of kind of going into maybe like English strong ale. I think it's kind of
Yeah, as
stepping
long as it's not
into.
Kentish.
It's no, dude. Jeez, I haven't had a good Kentish beer yet. Can we get some recommendations, please, guys?
Yeah, I don't care if it's the Bishop's Finger. It could fucking keep it out of my beer.
Or out of your ring. I still can't see it through the beer. Yeah, I was gonna say it's either stout or it's kind of like gimmicky beers, like with Stuart Brewing's Christmas Pudding Ale. It's kind of got some different flavors, or it advertises some different flavors. But yeah, I think, man, this and Santa Stout are definitely up there. Yorkshire Pudding beer, that's dead last.
Aldi describing it as their next big thing.
No,
like,
tiny.
I'm sorry.
Minuscule.
Yeah, I think when you what was it, the yard of pigs in blanket, maybe lean more towards that. Like, maybe not turn into beer, but let's just call that the next big thing.
You're playing to your strengths there, Aldi. With this beer, maybe not. I think that and Stuart Brewing's Christmas Pudding Ale was quite disappointing.
I had like the.
I love the can art and the smell. The packaging was great.
It was like almost 2 out of 3. Like
hell yeah.
Like the visual, like the aroma, but the taste was flat.
Just didn't quite.
And I think it might have just been because they wanted it to sell it in mass in stores. I think if this was like
a more premium beer.
The thing is, you wouldn't even be able to get in a pub either because they always want to keep the ABV low, so it's sessionable.
Most do now, yeah.
It's like,
cost,
it would be if they wanted to really go like the craft route, where they wanted to throw something from 6 to 8%, and you could only find it in bottle shops or direct from the brewer. But it's a big risk for a brewery to kind of just, we'll just really narrow our market. But enough about that.
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think the only one that we haven't mentioned was the other Christmas ale we did on last year's podcast. And I want to say it was Eden?
Yes.
Eden's Christmas ale? That kind of nutty...
Yes,
was it like a chestnut beer or something? That was probably bang in the middle, I think. If these two are on top, and Stuart, not yours, but Stuart Brewing and Yorkshire Pudding are down the bottom. That's kind of in the middle somewhere, I would think. I can't remember a lot about it, but I remember it being okay.
It was strange because that was like almost like a real gimmick beer itself. That was like in amongst because I found that in Tesco's, and it was like in the gift giving aisle and not the beer aisle. It was they were just in the little tubes. I still have the tube.
Wow. Did you put that up as a decoration, or has that just been sitting there since last year?
It's still 2001 in my house.
I still like the art and the packaging. It's cool, man. It's
the Castle Eden Christmas Chestnut Ale.
There you go. I wasn't far off. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, it was not a bad beer. I'd be inclined to give it another shot this year. But yeah, I mean, if it was this or Santa Stout or Bad Santa, it's you know what I mean. It's gonna be the latter two for sure, 100%, 100%. But yeah, that was not a bad brew. Okay, party people, thank you for joining us for this winter warmer. We hope we've managed to fill you up with something other than old turkey and regret this holiday season. Stu, I've completely forgotten how to do this sign-off section, so if I pass you this extension lead, would you kindly provide plugs?
Okay.
Sock it to me, baby.
We have the Laglogs could be found on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter,
okay,
Facebook,
no,
and yes, you could hear it, It's a tick and a talk.
Oh no! What have you done to us?
We
our
are
careers
everywhere.
shitter.
I mean, even if you type Lagerlogs into Pornhub, you will probably find one of our videos there as well.
That's my chosen method of streaming the show.
So, and by the New Year's, like, I don't know, onlyfans.com/Lagerlogs. Why not?
It's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna happen.
Yes,
it's gonna be a lot of expansion in the new year.
Beer pics, feet pics. And I mean, if you're watching us on YouTube, that's enough dick pics for you right there.
There's a lot of dicks on YouTube, and I think we fit in quite well over there. Anything else?
So yeah, and of course the website. When you get there, blow the steer off of it.
It's looking a bit creaky. The poor lad, but we're gonna give him a shine. Give him a clean and give him a buff for the new year. So head on over there and check it out.
For like pictures of beer and what we're up to, Instagram is a favorite place. If you're just wanting to see us and see us talk about beer,
look through my window.
Exactly, like you're listening to the podcast and you wonder what does that Bad Santa beer actually look like? Go onto our YouTube. Just I'm not sure if youtube.com/thelagerlogs works.
We're gonna check.
If it doesn't,
add editor's note here.
Type the Lagerlogs into YouTube. You'll find the channel. There's that classic David Lamb artwork.
Come on.
Of the
what else do you need, guys?
Of Tom and Stu. And yeah, you could join us and the other 80 odd people just drinking beer on YouTube.
Sounds like a good time to me, bud. So yeah. So, a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Well, except lawyers and Pepsi Max. And whoever decided to ban cap guns. And that guy next door keeps playing Elbow records after midnight. And, of course, Elbow. And who thought Windows 11? And who are we? Why are we here? Did Maury really have to retire?
On
what?
Voyage.
Well, I really got blind for tricking it too much.
Play the Wild Hearts.